Hi everyone. Today I wanted to share a review on the book that I read this week. The title of the book is How Women Rise. Break the 12 habits holding you back from your next raise, promotion or job. So I'm part of a book club in the organization that I work, and since we are celebrating the Women's History Month in the month of March, this was one of the books that were suggested for reading. The book is written by two authors, Sally Helgeson and Marshall Goldsmith. Sally Helgeson is cited in Forbes as the world's premier expert on women's leadership, and she is also a best-selling author. Marshall Goldsmith is a leadership coach and also the author of the much-renowned book, What Got You Here Won't Get You There. Now, this book, How Women Rise, has a rating of 4.21 in Goodreads and has about 670,000 ratings. So I must say this seems to be a very popular read. Also, even though the title says it's about women's profession, a whole lot of reviews were from men who were able to connect with the book. In the interest of not stereotyping or generalizing, I would like to think that the habits explained in the book applies to, say, majority, 2/3 of the women and maybe to 1/3 of the men as well out there. The book begins by defining professional success and how women often define success a bit differently than men. For men, it is almost always money and position that are key indicators of professional success. They are also likely to judge themselves and others based on these measures. The authors, Sally and Marshall, have seen how this form of comparing can lead successful men to underinvest in key relationships such as family, friends, and community. But for women, it's not just money and position. They also place a high value on their quality of life at work, their relationship with co-workers, and the positive impact of their contributions to the society or customers. It's also true that women are more likely to leave jobs that offer a high salary and position but low quality of life. Women also do not compete and keep a scorecard and often go out of their way to collaborate better for good results. This reluctance to view money, position, and winning as chief markers of success is psychologically very healthy for women and great for their teams and organizations. But women could get stuck in this, unable to climb the ladder in an organization. Strangely, even successful women often find it reluctant to describe themselves as ambitious. In a study, a New York-based psychiatrist who worked with some of the most successful women in the world reveals that even these successful women associated the word ambitious negatively to ego, selfishness, manipulation of others for one's needs. So the book gives an alternate and more useful definition for the word ambition, particularly for women. I have written this definition down. Let me read it out for you. The book says, ambition may be defined as the desire to maximize your talents in the service of work you find worthwhile and rewarding. Personally, I find this definition of ambition, whereby you work on maximizing your talents for a meaningful purpose, to be way more appealing. The next part of the book suggests a not to do list of 12 habits that women need to get rid of in order to rise in the organization. Now, unlearning something we do is often harder than learning a new habit. The authors also give practical ways in which you could work through to ditch these habits in a more organized manner. Some of the habits that were discussed in the book is: we do not claim our achievements ourselves and expect others to notice our hard work and promote us by default without us asking for these positions. Women are great in forming relationships, but we are not good at leveraging these relationships at work. We also need to form our own allies and tribe in workplace who would support our ideas during meetings. Placing our job ahead of our careers, we tend to get too involved trying to enable, recognize, and protect our team that we forget about our own career growth. We tend to seek perfection at work, which could be a deal breaker. We have this disease to please others that could prove detrimental for us. Women were essentially gatherers and caregivers of little ones, and our brains have evolved to have an innate ability to notice a lot of things at once. MRI scan of women's brains show lighting up of a lot of different regions when women process information. So it's habitual for women to absorb a lot of information and get distracted. So women have to learn to filter out unhelpful distractions, scattering your attention. Men, on the other hand, traditionally being the hunters, have laser sharp focus on the task at hand. When men process information, their brain activity tends to concentrate in one region. Then there is the organization or the society's perception of too much. Mind you, that these leadership positions were inherently occupied by males for the last thousands of years. It's only in the recent 50 or even 30 years that women have begun to occupy these seats. So in the buttoned up cultures set by men, there is still a bias that we should not fail to see and could be a tad bit too much for them. Our ability to show vulnerability, which is in fact our strength, might be too much. Our emotions, too much. Women show strong emotions in the form of anxiety, resentment, frustration, or fear. Whereas for a lot of men, the emotion that they are most comfortable showing and receiving may be anger. It's not the case that the men lack these other emotions, but due to social conditioning from childhood with statements like boys don't cry, you are the man of the house, boys don't play with dolls, and such other demands from the society, they are usually grown accustomed to either suppressing them or channel these fear and anxiety into aggression. Third, too many words. Researchers show that women speak an average of 20,000 words a day, while men typically speak 7,000. So it's highly likely that men get distracted when the women leaders articulate using words. Too much disclosure. Women deploy personal information as a primary means of bonding with one another. They not only share private hopes and dreams, but they also dissect their faults and problems. By contrast, men are most likely to bond with one another by doing things together. Many researchers believe that women's zest for building intimate and personal relationships and friendships and resilient support networks is one reason women live longer than men and are reported to being happier in literally every culture, except of course in cultures in which their freedom itself is severely restricted. The book suggests starting with one habit to let go and building allies to work together on these habits. This is a good read. It takes about 5 to 6 hours to complete depending on your speed of reading. Now, to conclude, my 2 cents on the book. Disclaimer, this is just my personal opinion. We women are natural leaders. We bring with us thousands of years of leadership experience. The only difference is our customers have always been little humans. They may be little, but mind you, they are as demanding and particular about their requirements and needs as any tough customer out there. Our brains have evolved to meet their needs. We have successfully marketed and sold them carrots and broccoli for lunch. We have enabled, empowered, and led these little humans. Scheduling of resources, risk management, people empowerment come naturally to us. Now, rather than trying to make us fit into an existing working culture of this world, it's up to the organizations and nations to change their working model so that they are able to leverage these qualities that women bring to their leadership positions. Now, this buttoned up culture that we have seen for hundreds of years in corporates is slowly beginning to change. In recent years, and especially in Silicon Valley companies, they have adopted a very forward-looking culture. Authenticity has become a workplace buzzword. There is much talk about bringing your real self to work. The idea being, if you're fully yourself, you will be free to be more creative and connect more deeply with colleagues and find your passion at work. Another buzzword that these corporates are truly embracing right now is the idea of servant leadership, whereby the leaders are meant to serve the team they lead. So the good news is that change is happening all over. And I'm confident that if we continue on this progressive track, if we promise ourselves that the circle around us to not encourage regressive mindset of any kind, it's only a matter of time before the world or the organizations get its well-deserved women leaders. Thank you.